Two buyers can spend the same kind of money in Northern Nevada and buy two completely different versions of life. One chooses Carson City because everything they use is closer.
Another ends up in Carson Valley because the home has more space, a stronger view, or a setting that finally feels like the reason they wanted to move here. Both buyers could be making a smart decision. The danger is thinking that they are buying the same thing.
Carson City and Carson Valley often attract the same buyer at the very beginning of the search. You want Northern Nevada. You want a home that feels like a better long-term fit. Maybe you're comparing Carson City with Minden, Gardnerville, or Genoa because the Valley keeps showing you properties with more room, more scenery, or a calmer pace.
That is where the money conversation starts to get a little bit interesting. In Carson City, your budget may be buying access, and in Carson Valley, that same budget may be buying you space. Access can protect your week, and space can change the way the home feels.
Neither one matters if it's not actually the thing that you wanted. So today, we're going to compare Carson City and Carson Valley through the question that buyers really care about. Where does your money go further?
Not just on paper, not just in square footage. I mean, after the showing is over and after the move is done and after you're living the routine that comes with the house. If you are already comparing Carson City, Minden, Gardnerville, Genoa, or another part of Carson Valley, comment with the areas that keeps pulling your attention.
Usually that area tells us what your current search has not solved yet.
I'm Jill Larson with the Larson Miller Group.
And I'm Marette Miller, and we help buyers, sellers, move-up homeowners, and investors make confident real estate decisions through Carson City, Carson Valley, and Northern Nevada.
The biggest mistake in the comparison is assuming more of your money always means more house.
Sometimes it does. Other times, value shows up in a shorter drive, fewer errands that feel like a project, easier access to appointments, or being closer to the places that you actually use every single week.
That kind of value is easy to overlook because it does not photograph well. A listing can show you a big backyard, but it cannot show you the relief on a normal Tuesday when it needs to feel simple.
That's where Carson City can make a stronger case than buyers expect. You might not always get the most open setting, and certain homes may sit on more compact lots than you find further south.
A property in town can still be the smarter buy if it keeps your life easier for your everyday life. Think about the places you actually use: the grocery store, the medical office, schools, restaurants, parks, local businesses, work, clients, appointments, and the major routes that throughout the region all matter more than closing after your tour.
A house that puts those things closer can feel better to own even if it doesn't have the most dramatic view. Convenience is not boring when it saves you time every week, and that's what Carson City often buys.
It gives you a practical home base. For busy buyers, that can be worth real money. Now, Carson Valley starts to win the attention when the buyer wants the home itself to feel a little bit more expensive.
Minden, Gardnerville, and Genoa all have their own rhythm, but the broader valley pool is usually about space, setting, and a quieter daily environment. The mountains can feel more present. The sky opens up differently. Some properties give you more distance from neighbors, more room for outdoor living, or a stronger sense of arrival when you come home.
For the right buyer, that is not extra. That's really the entire point. If you've been feeling boxed in by tighter lots, busier streets, limited parking, or homes that do not give enough breathing room, Carson Valley may feel like the search finally makes sense for you. That feeling deserves your attention.
It also deserves a reality check. More space brings more ownership. A larger lot means irrigation, fencing, landscaping, driveway care, weather exposure, snow considerations, wind, dust, and more time spent outside maintaining the property.
Some buyers hear that and still feel excited. Others realize that what might have attracted them to the look and the space may not be the full responsibility that they wanted when they start to own it.
That difference matters before you buy. A peaceful listing photo doesn't maintain the yard for you. The right Carson Valley buyer understands the work and still wants the lifestyle.
Now, let's make this more specific. Minden can appeal to buyers who want the valley feel without giving up too much practicality. It can feel connected, usable, and grounded while still giving you a different pace of Carson City. A buyer who wants more breathing room but does not want to feel removed may find Minden worth a serious look.
That's why the money conversation there can be compelling. You might be paying for balance between valley lifestyle and daily function. Gardnerville has its own kind of usefulness. There's a local rhythm to it, and for some buyers, that makes the area feel easier to imagine as a real home base.
You may still be south of Carson City, but you're not necessarily choosing isolation. That appeal often comes from a mix of services, community feels, views, and a little bit more room around the edges. For someone who wants a slower pace without feeling disconnected, Gardnerville can become a strong contender, but Genoa is different.
That area can make people feel emotional real quick. The charm, history, scenery, and the quieter feel can pull a buyer in before they have finished thinking about a practical side. And we understand why.
Some places make you picture a different version of your life almost immediately. That question is whether you want to live inside that version every day, and Genoa can be a beautiful fit for buyers who value setting, quiet, character, and a slow rhythm of life.
Someone who needs more services close by may admire it and then decide another location makes more sense. But that's not a loss, that's clarity. Now, let's go back to Carson City for a minute, because it's easy to undersell what the city actually gives you.
Carson City may not always create the same emotional reaction as wide open valley properties. It can still be a better financial decision for a buyer whose daily life depends on access. A shorter drive to work, that actually really matters. Being close to medical appointments may matter more than you expect. Restaurants, errands, schools, parks, offices, and services make a home feel easier to live in.
Those small conveniences turn into real value over time. A buyer who chooses Carson City is often paying for less friction. That might sound practical, but practical can be powerful. When your life is already full, the home that protects your routine can be worth way more than the one that only impresses you during the first showing.
A large lot does not feel like a win if you resent the drive every week. A better view loses some of its magic when the location keeps working against you. That is why "where does your money go further" question has been the most asked question over time. That is part of the purchase.
Now, if your life doesn't need to revolve around Carson City, the Valley starts making more financial and emotional sense. Maybe you work from home. Maybe your schedule is flexible. Perhaps your day-to-day life already points toward Minden, Gardnerville, Genoa, or the south side of the region.
A buyer who does not need constant access to Carson City can give more weight to space, privacy, and setting, and that really does change the calculation. For that person, paying for the convenience that they do not use would not be a smart use of money.
The better buy may be the property that supports the lifestyle they actually want. So before you decide which area stretches your budget further, ask what you're trying to buy.
Do you want a house that shortens your week? Would a larger lot change your quality of life? Is the view something you will appreciate every single day? And is it mainly exciting during the tour, or are you comfortable maintaining the property?
How often will you really drive back into Carson City? Those questions matter more than the price difference alone. A home is only a deal when the life around it still works.
Around this point, comment with what you're hoping Carson Valley gives you that Carson City has not solved for you yet. Is it more space, stronger views, lower pressure, privacy, land, parking, or a different pace? That answer helps narrow down the search much faster and simply the map.
Now let's talk about commute patterns, because this is where a lot of buyers get humbled. A drive can feel totally reasonable when you're excited about a house, but after closing, it becomes part of your everyday life. If you work in Carson City, use services there, have appointments there, or keep coming back for the restaurant, school, errands, family, clients, or daily routines, the extra distance needs to be worth it.
Do not test the drive once on a beautiful weekend and call it all good. Try the route that actually matters that you're going to use daily. Think about the weather, winter mornings, school timing, work hours, traffic patterns, and how often do you want to make that trip? And then when it gets tired, do you still want to do that?
A home outside town can absolutely be worth the drive. You just want to know what that looks like before the view starts doing all the talking. And the reverse is also true.
Some buyers choose Carson City because it feels like the safer answer. Then they realize their natural life points more south. If your favorite places are family connections, work patterns, or a lifestyle preference are already tied to Carson Valley, staying in Carson City may not give you the advantage you expected. A central location only helps when it's essential for your life.
Maps don't know your routine. That's why buyers need to compare these areas based on actual use and not just the distance. Now, let's talk about home styles and what your budget might feel like in each search. Carson City can give you a mix of established homes, updated properties, practical layouts, historic pockets, move-up options, and homes where location carries a lot of the value.
One side of town may feel very different from another, so the city itself requires a thoughtful search. Some homes are more about convenience, others are about character. A property may not have the largest lot, but it may be exactly where you need to be. That could be a strong use of your money.
Carson Valley often shifts the focus towards setting and property feel. Depending on the location and the budget, buyers pay more attention to lot usability, views, privacy, garage space, outdoor areas, and whether the home supports a quieter lifestyle. But the interior still matters. It just may not be the only reason the property stands out.
A home in the Valley can feel valuable because of what surrounds it, and that is different buying lens, and you need to use it carefully. Carson City home should not be dismissed because it does not feel like the Valley properties. A Carson Valley home should not be judged only of how far it sits from Carson City, because really each market is trying to be different and it solves a different pattern for certain buyers.
The mistake is asking one area to behave like the other. Now, relocation buyers need to be especially careful with this comparison. When you're coming from out of state, Northern Nevada can look really simple on a map. Carson City, Minden, Gardnerville, and Genoa might seem close enough that the difference are going to feel minor, but they're not minor once you live here.
Your routine becomes very specific after you move. The grocery store you prefer matters, your doctor matters, your school route matters, airport access may matter. How often do you go to Reno, Tahoe, or Carson City can change the best location. A few days of touring gives you a first impression, but living here really is going to be the truth.
That doesn't mean you should be afraid of choosing the Valley. It means you should choose it for the right reason. If you want the space, the setting, and the pace enough to accept the routine, Carson Valley may be a beautiful fit. If your daily needs keep pulling you back into Carson City, staying in town might be more comfortable in the long term.
Now, let's look at a move-up buyer. The comparison can become very emotional if your current home no longer fits you. Maybe your yard feels too small, the garage is not working for you anymore, you need some more privacy, your home feels crowded, and you're ready for that setting that gives you something that feels different when you pull into the driveway.
Carson Valley can solve some of those frustrations in a way that Carson City might not, depending on the property. That can be a real reason to move south. Just make sure the new home solves the right problem.
More square footage alone does not guarantee a better life. A larger lot can be wonderful, but only if you want to care for it. A quieter setting may feel incredible unless the distance starts creating stress for you.
A move-up home should improve your daily experience, not simply just look impressive. For first-time buyers, the money question has another layer though. Carson City might offer convenience that makes ownership easier to manage.
Carson Valley may show properties that feel more appealing for the budget, but the total cost still matters. Payment is only part of it. Repairs, utilities, your commute, your maintenance, your condition of the house, time required to manage the home all affect affordability. A first home should help you build stability. It should not force you into a lifestyle that becomes harder than expected.
For investors, the emotional pull needs to be kept under control. Views and charm are nice, but rentability, demand, condition, location, maintenance, and the long-term flexibility of the property matter more. Carson City might make sense if access and tenant demand line up with your strategy. Carson Valley can be worth exploring if the numbers work and the property fits your investment plan.
A property setting does not automatically produce a stronger return. An investor has to stay disciplined. Now, sellers should pay attention here too, because buyers are making this comparison even when they do not say it out loud. A Carson City seller may be competing with homes in Carson Valley if the buyers are debating convenience versus space.
That means the listing has to make the value of the location really clear. If the home offers access, updates, low maintenance, and a shorter routine, or proximity to services, buyers should understand why staying in town is worth it. And a Carson Valley seller has a different story to tell.
The property may need to sell the lifestyle as much as the house. The views, the privacy, the outdoor function, the garage space, the land, the quietness, and the feeling of the valley can be a reason a buyer chooses it over Carson City. At higher price points, that story becomes even more important. The luxury move-up buyers are not just purchasing room, they're choosing the Northern Nevada lifestyle that they want.
A strong listing should help them feel that difference. Now, let's answer the title directly. Where does your money go further? Carson City might be the better value if convenience, services, access, and that easier weekly routine are the things that you will feel the most.
Carson Valley may stretch your money further if space, views, privacy, and quieter pace are the reason you're moving. The better buy depends on which benefit you still care about after the novelty wears off. And here's the test.
Do not pay extra for convenience if you will still spend every day wishing that you had more room. Be careful choosing that larger property if your real life depends on fast access.
A view can be worth the money, but it cannot fix the wrong floor plan, the wrong budget, or the wrong routine. A lower price only helps if the total lifestyle makes sense for you.
The best purchase is the one where the trade-offs feel totally worth it on an ordinary day, not just the best showing day. Not only when the light is perfect and the mountains look incredible. An ordinary day tells you the truth.
Can you imagine living a normal week comfortably in the area, probably working in your favor? So if you're choosing between Carson City and Carson Valley, start with the life that you want that supports your lifestyle. Carson City may be a stronger answer when your week needs convenience, access, and a practical home base.
The Valley might be the right move when the next home needs to give you more room, more quiet, and a stronger sense of place. And both decisions can be smart.
The key is choosing the trade-off that you won't resent later, after you move in.
If you're comparing Carson City with Minden, Gardnerville, Genoa, or anywhere else in Carson Valley, reach out and we can talk through the homes, the areas, the drive patterns, and what your money is really buying in each place.
Subscribe for Carson City, Carson Valley, and Northern Nevada real estate breakdowns, because the best move is not the one that only looks good online.
It's the one that still feels right after you live there.